Hold on, I'm waiting for the transcript to start so that I can stop it. I had shared this particular document. I had turned the exam guidelines, whatever they call it, into a PDF document. What I'd done then is I had stuck in the appropriate slides for each of these. So, oh, very nice, Liam. Very, very, very cool. That looks amazing, actually. Very, very cool, boy. Oh, my goodness me. Yeah. So I've done this for every one of the cases. You'll see that I did leave a case out. So the case that I'd left out is the last one. Okay. So I've got to try and explain this, guys, in terms of why it's possible, but I think you would know why it's possible to leave out a particular case. So generally, we only prepare for five. Oh, nice, Nosipo. Generally, we only prepare five assignments, and if one of the assignments comes up that you didn't spot, then obviously you just do the other two. But when it comes to this, and I'm going to mute my face now, enough time on the camera, right? When it comes to the actual exam, and can't promise you that it'll work this way because I set two separate exams. In those two exams, for both of those exams, I create one question that is obvious to avoid. Now, you'll see what I'd done in this instance, which is the one that's obvious to avoid. However, if you look very carefully, you'll figure out that there are potentially two that we can avoid. The risk with that, though, guys, is I don't see the final combinations of subjects that they give. And that's the concern. So I can tell you, and you can clearly see which are the to avoid subjects. But I've seen in the past they rearrange the case studies into their own versions of the exam. So my head would say, be very careful if you're going to spot two. But if you are, decide which four you are going to know off by heart, and then the one that is potentially the other spot, obviously not the one that I've left out. Yeah, maybe be able to write something on it just in case I didn't get the combination of questions right. So there's no drama in terms of this, guys. You'll see that each of the questions I've indicated where the answers are, obviously. In terms of this, the approach that you should take is work out the theory answers and then just leave some ideas from the case study. So you know the theory answers off by heart, but also know where to find bits and pieces from the case study. I think it's very difficult to try and study absolutely everything, both the application and the theory. Now, I know that somebody had said that it is 49 pages, but just remember a lot of those pages is the stuff here, stuff that literally, you need to have a glance at, but it's non-essential. I obviously will always use these rubrics to mark. So once the exam is written, these guide me significantly. Now, obviously, I also need to look at the theory, but I think at this point, I've done this a long time. I know the theory pretty well. So that guides in terms of where I allocate marks. And then, yeah, this is the one I said spot out, leave out. Yeah, again, I I didn't like this particular question for this reason here, that reason there. I think when I think back to the assignment, a lot of people struggled with that. So for me, the obvious leave one out is going to be question 6. Do not even touch question 6. If, however, you want to do question 6, please feel free to do question 6, but I would certainly avoid that, like avoiding uh, uh, like avoiding the dentist doing root canal. Let me try and use that analysis with blunt tools. So that to me is your leave out one. Insofar as the slides are concerned, they're very, very clear. Now, I don't even think you need to write the answers out in full in terms of it. Just copy the slides into an assignment and know that that's the theory. If you want to start connecting the application with the slides, that's absolutely, or the content from the slides, that's absolutely fine. But just remember, you will receive the questions as well as the case study. Insofar as the case studies are concerned, I made sure that I provided significant detail and significant kernels of connects between the theory and the application. So if you work through these, you will clearly see where I'm referring to this aspect of the theory, or this aspect of the theory, this aspect of the theory. My attitude is that exams are by nature bloody nerve-wracking. And on top of that, guys, those of you that are writing on Dugga, or sorry, I'm supposed to say Dugga, but it's spelled Dugga for the first time, get yourself a fay. I don't know if they give you a sandpit to play in to do some practice runs. You have to make sure that you get the feel of this 100% perfect, guys. You do not want to flounder on the morning. Please make sure that you have access to it. On the morning, I'm not supposed to get involved, but I really don't care what people tell me, what I can and cannot do. If you are really desperate, just send me a message. I will make sure that the right people get hold of it. Raising a ticket is a waste of time because we're not going to get enough time. Just give me a second. Unfortunately, in the past, and this became a real issue. One of the students couldn't get on. The camera was activated. The assumption was that the exam had started from the moderators, and then this person got flagged because they were sending or looking on their phone. But they were looking on their phone, and you could see the times, etc., because they were WhatsApping me out of panic. So be very careful of that. Other than that, guys, you are literally now, as a group, individually and collectively, on your own. My suggestion, I like the idea of our groups becoming community of practice. If you guys help each other out in terms of, saying, oh, I found this bit of application, I found this application linked to these questions, use the group for that, guys. Absolutely use the group for that. I know that some of you have developed friendships and will possibly work together in the groups that you had for your group assignment. Or no, you didn't have a group assignment. Sorry, I'm confused. But have developed friendships and will be sharing information. Even if you guys have exactly the same application stuff, it is not even remotely possible that people will tackle the questions in the same way. So my suggestion is be efficient about it. Study the theory, don't even study the theory, take the theory, copy it onto a Word document, and then go and find where the application bits are. If you can remember all of that, that's fantastic. At least make sure you know the theory. Also, in terms of the theory, and this is essential to remember, and I need to go here, please see what I allocate, and please have a glance at what it means to sit in the 12 to 15 mark range. In my mind, with this and with the guidelines that I've given you, there is no reason whatsoever to fail. Having said that, guys, people still fail. Honestly, we don't have a massive failure rate, but I think 10% in the past has failed. But the classes are massive, and we have to appreciate that as well. And also, you all have jobs. You're working adults. It's a tough time. Please make sure that you get your time off from work for study leave. Make sure you book your time off in terms of the exam as well. Don't leave that too late. Guys, you've got to try and keep it as relaxing as possible in terms of the exam going forward. I'm going to stop there and ask if there are any questions at this point. Sorry, I haven't had the thing on chat. Well, it's impossible. No, you can't pick two out of Oh my gosh. Yeah. So absolutely, yeah. So the theory from the slides, if you want to elaborate, grab the, are you writing on campus? Yeah. Also, UNESCO, nice, right on campus. I don't mind whichever way I receive it. But insofar as the cases that I've given here, you can't just choose two from it. You've got to study five. But if you look very carefully and if you're prepared to take the risk that they've not reorganized these questions, you can get away with four. You'll clearly see in terms of the question that I've left out and the other question, there is a duplicate question there almost. So I would never ask two questions that are the same in an assessment. Having said that, it is way, way, way too risky. Michaela, if you can write them out as essays, absolutely you can, but at least know the theory and know the bullet points that you can elaborate. Um, you know what? It depends on how you want to approach it. I am very fortunate. My study technique allows me to remember a hell of a lot of information. So I would do your suggestion, Michaela. I would write it out and then I would do what I did in my normal study technique and I would study everything so that it just flows theory linked to application. But it depends on your study technique and it depends on how you want to attack it. Do not try and figure out the application in the, please do yourselves a favor, do not try and figure out the application when you get to the point of the exam where you've only studied the theory. You will struggle, you will struggle. There's a lot of information in these case studies, okay? Kiara, I have no cooking clue. Kiara, please do me a favor and raise that as an issue. Okay, you have to raise that as an issue. Okay, I will do that I don't know. So raise a ticket. Okay. I don't know if you can, Marissa. You know, this is also the stuff that I don't know that side of it. We told no one is supposed to write on campus, but I see people are writing on campus. I never know what is happening, honestly. So yeah, Kiara, I've answered that. You know what? The reality is it's how much can you write in 3 hours? So it's an hour and a half each. How many words can you write per question? I hate doing that because so each of them, each of the case studies has three questions. Let me just get away from the one that we're not using. Um, I it depends on how big you write, but you know that you'll be given, considering that you will be referring back to the case study, etc., that you will have, say, 25 minutes per question. Introduction and conclusion, please. Right? Introduction and conclusion. So you can look at the rubric as well. So Caroline, again, I don't know any of that stuff. I stay so far away from it because my advice will be wrong. Okay, okay. Thanks, Jared. Anything else, guys? I'm worried I might have missed. I'm just going to scroll back in the questions. So you have to, yeah, I'm just seeing some of it. Yeah, I don't stress at all. I do stress when I get messages from my students on the morning of this exam and they can't get into the Duggar system. Then I strip my temper completely, and yeah, admin normally would bear the brunt of that. Okay, thanks, Nosipo, for that. I don't stress yet, but I will stress the day before the exam for my student because it's just my nature to do that, unfortunately. Okay. Anything else, guys? Please remember what I said about using the group. If you want, use the group. that if you find a bit of information that ties in with the first question in the first case study, share that amongst yourselves. Don't let only one person do the sharing. Please, that we make this a bit of a community of practice. I will turn the Mali group into the COMI group for second semester. I'm not going to set up a brand new group for the innovation bit, guys. No, you don't in-text reference whatsoever. Okay. Thanks. Perfect. Perfect, Caroline. Yeah, no in-text reference whatsoever, guys. When is this exam? The 15th of June. Okay. Oh gosh, is the 16th of June not a public holiday? I think it is. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you know what you can do. You can work yourself to a pulp and then have the public holiday to yourself, guys. Very nice. Elisna, very, very nice. Right. Yeah, we can all, I'll drink with you guys the next day. Definitely will share that with you. Any other questions, guys? Because at this point, and it sounds awful to say this, you're slightly on your own. And I will try and answer bits on the on the group, guys, but it literally is now just you guys studying. That's it. It's gone very quiet. Can I stop recording? Because I've got bugger all more to say. Jerry can do that where, I mean, no, why would that be cheating? I don't believe. Nice boy, fellow. Jared, I don't see that as cheating whatsoever. I just don't want access to that document, okay? I don't consider that cheating in any way, shape, or form, to be honest with you. I'm going to stop recording. Well, where you've made the